Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be doing a little drawing. So we're going to be using a technique called 1-point linear perspective, and it's pretty scientific. It's all based on how our eyes interpret information that's going back into space. So there's a couple things that we're going to need today. One is a pencil, one's a ruler. If you don't have a ruler to draw a straight line, any type of straight edge, a magazine, a book, piece of cardboard, anything that you have that you could draw a straight line up against will work fine, okay? But hopefully, most people will have a ruler. And then we're also going to need some type of cap or a smaller cup, anything that we could trace around to make a smaller circle. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw a small point. We don't want it to be too large because we want to be able to be precise with this. A small point approximately in the center of the paper. You don't need to measure it or anything. Just kind of eyeball it and put a small dot in the middle of your paper. And then the first shape that we're going to do is a square. Eventually, you guys are going to have 6 different shapes. I'm going to show you how to do 2 different shapes together, and then individually you guys can figure out what the other shapes are that you want to draw. So using your ruler, we're working in the upper left-hand corner. I'm just going to draw a square. It's okay if yours is more of a rectangle, as long as it's close. All right, so once we have our shape, what we're going to do is we're going to take the corners of that shape and draw them to this point. This point we call the vanishing point, and this represents the furthest distance that we would be able to see. We're going to bring every corner of the shape to the vanishing point as long as it doesn't cut across the front of the shape. So we can see if I take this corner and draw that to the vanishing point, it obviously stays to the side of the shape. But if I were going to start to draw a line from this corner to the vanishing point, that would kind of cut across the front of our shape. So we're going to leave that one off, but these other 2 are good to bring to the vanishing point. All right, so once we have those lines in, we could already start to notice that we have this illusion. It looks like the square is going back into space. But one thing that we want to do is we want to end this shape before it reaches all the way to the vanishing point. And the way we do that are with parallel lines. So parallel lines are lines that share the exact same angle that you can continue on for eternity and they would never cross over each other. So here we're looking at a vertical line, which means that it's going straight up and down. So figure out where you want your square to end. I'm going to have mine end right here. And I'm going to draw a vertical line that's parallel to this line in that section. At the bottom of the shape, we have a horizontal line that's going left to right, no angle to it at all. And again, we're going to draw a line parallel to that across the bottom section now. So in other words, we have a 90-degree angle here. We have a 90-degree angle where it ends, right? Then all we have to do is erase out the lines that we're not going to use, but make sure that we don't erase that vanishing point. We want to have the same vanishing point for all the shapes that we're going to be drawing down. Okay, so we have a square in 1-point perspective. All right, the next shape we're going to do is a circle, because obviously it's going to be a little bit different because we don't have these obvious corners to bring to the vanishing point. So whatever kind of cap or cup that you want to use to trace, go ahead and trace that into one of the corners. And I want to show you guys how we're going to bring this to the vanishing point. So the easiest way to do this is to take your pencil, put that right on your vanishing point, and put your ruler or your magazine, whatever you're using as a straight edge, up against your pencil. Then we're going to slowly turn that ruler or straight edge into the circle, and the very first edge that it catches on the circle is our outermost edge. So we're going to draw a line on the left as well as on the right. So the 2 outermost edges of our circle. Okay? Now usually we'd want to have a circle stencil to have a complete half of a circle go across the bottom section of the cylinder, but we're just going to have to freehand that today. So the biggest mistake people make is usually they just draw a straight line across, and that completely flattens this out, and it's not going to look like a cylinder going back into space. We want this to kind of look like a Pringles can going back. So it needs to be curved down at the bottom here as well. And what we want to try and do is try and fit a complete half of a circle, if we can, across the bottom section. Okay? Same deal as before. Once we have our shape drawn in, we're going to erase out the part of the line that we don't need. But again, make sure that we do not erase that vanishing point. Again, this technique is called 1-point linear perspective. So by having just one single vanishing point and all the shapes that we draw down using that same vanishing point, it's going to strengthen that illusion that all these shapes are going back into space. So you guys are going to do a total of 6 shapes. Each shape needs to be different, so you can't do 6 squares or 6 circles. So all 6 shapes need to be different. One of them needs to be a circle. And if you're feeling pretty confident with this, try to do an organic shape, or you could do a letter, a star, something that's going to be a little bit more challenging. All right. If you have any questions, post them on Google Classroom or send me an email. And when you're finished, take a photo of your drawing and post that into the assignment so I can take a look at it. All right. Have fun.